Madam Chair, Deputy Prime Minister, colleagues, members of the local press, listeners and viewers, good morning. What a pleasure it is to be here. Last week, Friday, a friend of mine called me from Jamaica. He said that he was listening to a radio talk show, a breakfast show, and that there were two members of parliament from the St. Kitts and Nevis National Assembly bashing our country and bashing the Prime Minister and the government that I have the privilege to be a part of. And he wondered whether I was listening. So I said, I don't normally listen to Jamaica radio, but if you send me the link, I will listen. So I'm almost sad to tell you that I listened and heard it myself. They predicted that there will be civil unrest. They predicted that I assume it's some of my colleagues here, because I know it ain't me, will be walking away from this government shortly. And I almost didn't recognize the country that they were speaking about. My understanding is that this kind of interview has been taking place across the region in a concerted, deliberate, strategic attack on the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis, in an unfortunate and what I call a sad attempt to paint a picture of a country that somehow is in distress, a country that is headed for major instability and unrest. I want to take this opportunity, colleagues, members of the media, and viewers and listeners, to reassure the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that regardless of these attempts to destabilize the country and these attempts to paint as nasty a picture as possible of St. Kitts and Nevis, that nothing could be further from the truth. I've had the privilege for the last 4 weeks to have added to my responsibility the portfolio of the Ministry of Trade, Industry, Commerce, and Consumer Affairs. And that, of course, is added to the Ministry of Tourism and International Transport. I therefore have the honor and privilege to sit where you could possibly describe as the epicenter of economic awareness. And let me reassure the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that the investment climate has never been stronger, that real investment activity has never been more active. There are at least 10 major projects in the resort and residential tourism business and education tourism business that I can point to. Members of the media can do the research and find them out. But there are at least 10 projects that will result, already result in, and will result over the course of this year in the area of $1 billion EC dollars worth of investment in this country. That would not be happening if this was a country where investors were afraid to do business. That would not be happening if this was a country where the people were taken to the streets and being upset that somehow government is non-functional. I also have had the privilege, as the minister responsible for industry, to engage those areas where it is perceived that business future is more vulnerable, in the area of the manufacturing sector. One day after being appointed the responsibility, I met with the chairman of the manufacturing division of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce and a former president of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And we discussed those areas of intervention that were necessary. Immediately, we began work. And I can say that one company that had been significantly struggling, and in fact, where layoffs had taken place over the last year, and over 100 employees had lost their jobs, that we are working actively, feverishly, and I hasten to say, successfully, to arrest the decline in the fortunes of that company. I have engaged their major client in Germany. I have engaged their major creditors. And in what will be, I believe, a historic and unprecedented partnership between the public and private sector, this company is now facing an optimistic outlook with the possibility of a turnaround and even beginning to hire additional employees in the coming months. There's another company which has been doing better, but which had been somehow stifled in its growth plans because somehow its need for additional space had not been made clear to this cabinet and certainly had not been made clear to this minister. I'm happy to say that in a very rapid and productive cabinet submission placed before cabinet last week, Monday, cabinet agreed to make available the old supply warehouse, what we call the supply office, 12,500 square feet of it, available to this particular company so that it can proceed with its expansion plans. The expansion plans which will be rolled out to the media in coming weeks after we sign another historic partnership development agreement with this manufacturer, will result over the coming 5 years or so of up to an additional 500 employees being needed. The point that I want to make to this country at this point is that at this crucial time, I should say, is that whatever the politics is, whatever people's political opinions, however much they hate, however much they dislike, and however much they may feel that it is their time, it is always time for the country to move forward. And the country will only move forward if business grows, if there are more opportunities for businesses of all type, if there are more opportunities for people to find work and for people to get empowered. And that is what this government is seeking to do. And every single day that I serve this country as a minister, that is what I seek to do. Regardless of what others might be telling Jamaican audiences on the radio, or St. Lucian or Antiguan or Trinidadian audiences. This is about St. Kitts and Nevis, where all is welcome and where there is opportunity for all. And people who live here know better. People who work here know better. People who live here know that the ministries that I represent and the ministries that all of us represent here and the government that is led by Dr. Denzil Douglas is a government that works hard. A government that continues to look out for empowerment of its people. And I am confident that the work we are doing will continue to bring good dividends. Thank you.